Hey y'all, not too happy this morning. This is my second video and I am going to share some distressful situations with you. And hey, I normally do not do this. I have been waiting for, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes or so for my first video that I just did this morning to download, so I could get that out of the way, okay? So I could get back on again this morning. Now, like I've mentioned, I'm going to just pre-warn you guys, if you don't like me after this, and if you feel like I'm being rude, I'm sorry. I don't know if it's because, okay, I don't mean to keep reiterating that I had a sinus infection last week, and that I did not feel good and la-di-da. And my body, I know my body, and so I'm a little bit hypersensitive today because even though I just got over the sinus infection, I think I'm trying to get a cold from the grandkids, because Nevaeh was sniffling real bad. And you know, sinus is common around here because of the pollen and all of that jazz, as many of you know. But I went to the doctors, you know, got my antibiotic and all that jazz. Okay, so it was confirmed that I did indeed have a sinus infection, and I was wondering why I was feeling so bad. But anyway, so here I am again, not even 30 minutes after just downloading a video this morning, and I'm back on again. Because what happened was, as I'm downloading the video, I turn on the TV. I'm still at my daughter's, which I need to leave because I've got a full plate today. I've got to, get to the house, take care of the dog, get some errands done around the house, whatever. My grandson in love just got off the phone with me. I'm going to be picking him up this afternoon at daycare so he can spend some time with me. And also, I'm going to see if I can rearrange Ashley's plans and go pick up the kids at the Boys and Girls Club so that Reagan and them can play together for a little while, so I can have him for a few hours, because I miss him terrible. And I know he's excited about not just seeing me, but he wants to play with his cousins. So, but anywho, so I'm sitting here and I thought, okay, well, I'm going to turn on, my daughter's monitor, her TV, while I'm downloading this Good Morning video that I did today, talking about, is YouTube safe? How weird is that? Because I turn on Belle's Reborn Nursery, which I mention her all the time. I'm sorry, I just can't help it. For some reason, I really, really love her a lot, and I don't even know her. Okay, there's just something about me. I don't know. I'm drawn to her. Whatever. It's weird. I know, and I mean, it's not like a psychotic, weird stalking thing. It's just, I just says, okay, so I entitled the video that I just downloaded, "Is YouTube Safe?" And of course I talked about some other things, but I am so upset right now. I'm trying not to cry. I know you don't believe that probably, but I'm more angry than I am wanting to cry. But I'm wanting to I have that weird feeling in my stomach that I get when I know that I'm about ready to, my ugliness is going to come out. Okay, let me just say, I am not prejudiced, I'm not racist, I'm not any kind of way, but the white trash is going to come out in me this morning. The white trash, the wrong side of the railroad track girl. Okay, I am just totally distraught. And if you don't want to watch this, don't, because as y'all know, I normally don't go to this extent. But I tell you what, first of all, I was so proud of Belle's Reborn Nursery this morning, Because for one, during her dialogue, she came out and she started to, she got real, man, like real, and was like, talking about you a piece of crap baby with rocks and hair falling out. And she threw in a few little blurps here and there that were PG rated, which I'm like, you go, girl. It's about time. You know, they're pushing it and pushing it and pushing it to the point where, you know, you do everything you can to be diplomatic. You do everything you can, you know, to be diplomatic, to be mature, to be gracious. And for some reason, we categorize defensiveness, being defensive, but not in a negative way. Let's say, you know, you're going to defend yourself if you feel like that somebody has really crossed the line, and there is no wrong in that. Okay? You are not lowering yourself. Let me just say this, Miss Jen. Excuse me, but I'm really put out about this. You are not lowering yourself just because you defend your situation and your very livelihood, your very life. Are you? I was appalled. So, Jen, I'm on your side, girl, 100%. And I'm fired up because I sat there and I watched your video about the bullying thing this morning. And I had so many feelings rush through. I mean, I was angry. My stomach was churning. I felt like I was going to cry. My heart started beating a little bit fast because I was emotionally attached to everything you were saying, because I thought, this is getting absolutely ridiculous. I mean, this is not just, you know, a game anymore. Not to the extent that she shared with us this morning and shared with me this morning. First of all, her opening line was there were a small group of women. Well, let me just say this. Not only is it a small group of women, but it's small-minded, small, insignificant, deluded, ignorant group of females. Okay? Adolescent minded, juvenile minded, ignorant, you know, nothing else upstairs. Group of females, or so-called women, which women do not act like these women are acting. So when Jen opened up her comment with that word, a small group of women, you can believe they are small. Not just numerical, not just in a group setting, but small in every significant way. Small in heart, small in mind, small in thinking. And they're feeding off of each other and playing on each other and coming up with all this crap. They're trying to railroad Jen. And when that didn't work, and, you know, of course, they went after Sam and her little girl, too. Okay, I thought this was done. I thought this was done. Okay, and the reason I'm so mad is because now it's gotten to the place where it's not just a bickering catwalk thing. You know, let me scratch you and you can scratch me back or whatever. Not in a nice kind of way. I'm talking about claws. Okay, we're talking about somebody's life. We're talking about somebody's medical, physical, well, you know, there's strain and stress mentally in life, and it can affect our health. But man, when you talk about stripping somebody of their well-being physically and health-wise, and also trying to bombard mental wise, I mean, you're a sick person. You got issues. You're weak. You are what makes this world suck, ladies, that play with this kind of stuff. Okay? Now my heart's going right now. I'm mad because I don't like the fact that not only are they trying to railroad her, but they're trying to derail her. Jealousy to the max. That's all this is. Jealousy, stupidity, pettiness. Any word that you can think of that's in the dictionary that depicts this type of behavior, any negative connotation that I can attach to this is there for me in my mind. Because, they're trying to stifle her life. They're trying to stifle her by attacking, her children, delving into Jen's past, supposedly, which I watched that video where she had to get on and she was clarifying, a situation that happened to her way back in the day. And like, that's going to make her a bad person, because her children were temporarily rehomed for a while because of total misunderstandings. And you know what? People do change, even if there was, purpose and reason behind some of that, which I'm not saying that there was, but, people change. People can get better. I don't know about some of y'all that are out there doing all this. If there's any hope for y'all, I hope that there is, because I'm going to be praying that there's some hope there somewhere, and some kind of a reconstructive or salvation or something. I don't know what, but they're stifling her life. They're trying to stifle her voice, her style, her personality, and her art. I mean, they're attacking her in all spectrums, like a pie that's cut into segments. And if this doesn't work, we're going to do this. If that doesn't work, we'll do this. If this doesn't get her, we're going to get her here. I mean, come on. Who has time for that kind of business? It's out of hand. And even if it was just a ism name calling thing, that can be handled, that can be dealt with. Most people can, move on from that. But this last situation that Jen has revealed, I'm sorry, but I would be taking some legal matters now. I would be figuring out some kind of way to address this in a legal fashion, because I don't know, these women need to grow up. They need to grow up. Seriously. They need to refocus their energies into something more positive. They're becoming so reclusive with this ugly ball of wax, and it just keeps festering and festering, and it just gets bigger and bigger, and they're throwing this thing at Jen, and it's like, why? Do y'all, I mean, are y'all, those of you that are doing this, you can come and attack me all you want. Go ahead, because I'm not going to play. I mean, I don't have a lot of money and that type of stuff, but I'm going to tell you what. We got some friends in high places, my husband and I do, and you start messing around threatening me like that, and I'll be contacting a lawyer. And I mean, when I say contacting a lawyer, I'm not playing. Okay? I mean, I'm not saying, and I'm not hoping that people will do me like they've been doing Jen and Sam. These hardworking single moms trying their best to make a good life, and then someone that comes along because they're being successful, not monetarily, as Jen keeps trying to exemplify in her video. She's not getting rich off YouTube, lady that reported her, because you got pissed off because Jen You know what? Like she said, you want to put rock. You know what? I haven't always. I've got a baby that I substituted waiting material. I didn't use rocks, but I substituted, and I don't feel bad about it. And it's my baby. But Jen made it clear, if you're gonna learn to do something, do it right first. Get it right first. Do the professional aspect, and then later, if you want to cut corners, by all means, cut corners. Nobody's gonna judge you. I pulled a dirty Tommy Hilfiger sock, literally out of one of the dolls that I bought. It was a boo-boo baby, okay? I guess that's why they called it a boo-boo baby, because it had a Tommy Hilfiger sock in it. But she really needed help, and the doll, and it was an AA baby, and she ended up being quite cute, because I'm trying to remember the name of the kit, but she was adorable, and I loved her, but I didn't pay much for her. I think I paid $80 for her. She was an AA baby, but she was called a boo-boo baby. Her hair was really awesome. She really had the best potential in the world. But when I first got her, I was like, oh my God. And when I bought her from a girl who'd bought her as a boo-boo baby. So I know that the girl that I bought her from didn't put the dirty sock inside of her. But needless to say, when I restuffed her, that's what I found in there. And the sock was dirty, like it'd been worn, and they were like, oh, I've ran out of material, so let me just use this dirty sock out of the laundry basket, and I'll just fill it with some sand, and I'll stuff that in there, and nobody will ever know the difference. But, but all Jen was trying to say was just, gather up your knowledge, gather up your skill, do it right the first time. Later on down the road, if you want to improvise, improvise. It's not against the law. But if you sell the baby, make sure you let the other person know that you're selling the baby to, that you've improvised. Because quite often the material you use, might be okay. It might be okay to just leave the baby as is. It might be okay. Maybe someone's just thankful to have a baby that, a reborn, that maybe you used an alternative material, but as long as you're honest about it. But you also want to let people know, especially those that are trying to learn, as Jen was saying, the correct procedures involved, whether you use pellets or you use, glass beads or whatever waiting material you so choose. It's all good, So this lady, which I'm going to go into in a minute, literally, she sucker punched Jen is what she did. She freaking sucker punched Jen. They need to refocus and regather their thoughts and start looking into some other way of entertainment. And here's my thing. I said this before. Would they, the ones that are doing all of this hate business, would they want people or someone to treat their loved ones, to treat those that they dearly care about the way they have treated Jen? Would they want someone to wish ill will to the point of death on someone they love? Come on. You know what? Human life is valuable. Decent, good people are out there, and they're to be valued. Life is to be cherished. And if you go so low as to want to jeopardize, there's something wrong with you. Too bad we can't put people in prison for such evil thoughts. Really. If we were judged by the law based on our ill will towards people, I mean, a lot of us, including myself, would probably be in prison, but I've never wished that someone would die. I have never wished that someone would get deathly sick, or that someone they loved would die, or, have some kind of ill, reaction because they can't take their medication or whatever. And to stoop so low and to be so white trash as to go to the authorities and falsely report something that's not even true, just to jack up that person's world, just to shake that person's cage because you made me mad. Because you told me that I wasn't supposed to use rocks, or you were contrary to my choice of weighting material. But well, you know what? Don't put your mess out on Facebook or out on YouTube or anywhere else if you don't want people to make a comment about it. I know I'm being ugly, but I really don't care because I sat there and almost cried. I did cry a little bit, but I didn't want to get crazy because I'm like, I don't even really, I mean, I know Jen, but I don't know Jen. And I'm like, oh my God, is this for real? Is this, do y'all want, I mean, I would be really heartbroken if she stopped doing her videos because I'm getting into watching the tutorials that she's doing on the reborn thing, how to make your own reborn babies. And I enjoy her mom. They are sweet people. What is wrong with these people that are trying to sit there and sabotage everything that Jen does? If they can't hurt her through her mom, they're going after her her health. Oh my God. So, you know, would they want someone to treat their loved ones the way they've been treating Jen? I mean, do they get gratification and are they all consumed with this kind of mess? I mean, is this their hobby? Is this their latest hobby besides reborning, is to harass people and desecrate and insult and literally make false report to the authorities? To step over the line and actually follow through and falsely, you know, you can get in trouble for that just as readily. I mean, they're going to find, like Jen said, that, you know, she's not making thousands and thousands of dollars off the YouTube thing. And they're going to if they do investigate, you know, you're actually kicking your own tail end with your foot, because they're going to go, well, ma'am, you know, we didn't find any substantial evidence based on this. And so why would you go to that extent to report something that's obviously false according to our investigations? And you, the one who started this whole ball of wax, could be penalized by the law. You could be, you know, get in trouble for falsely accusing, you know, making false representation in a legal manner towards uh, government issued financial, you know, institutions that are trying to help people just to get their medicine so they can stay alive. That's, to me, that's like a sound case for, you know, felonious activity. It could backfire. Yeah, they may come to her house. Now this is not to play with. They could come to her house. They can investigate. They could do all that and come to that conclusion and turn around, look at you and say, well, what's your problem? We haven't found anything to substantiate this. You're tampering. That's like calling 911 and doing prank phone calls on 911. You just don't do certain things like that. You don't do it. You can get penalized. You can go to jail for that. I hope that's what happens. If you want to wish ill will on somebody, but you know what? You're the one that started this. Is that all they see? I mean, is that all they do? Is that they're all consuming? Is that all consuming hobby? Is to destroy people and hurt people and make false accusation. You know, like I said, it's one thing, sticks and stones, you know, may break my bones and all that jazz, but names will never. But when you cross the line and you actually activate an investigation in reality, real time, not just on YouTube, but like real time, you know, you're really digging a hole. You're digging a hole and you're going to fall in it. Because I'm a firm believer that what you do to others, it's going to happen to you. You can call it karma. You can call it whatever you want to call it. The Bible says what you reap, you're going to sow. And if you're sowing discord and dishonesty and hate, I'm sorry, that's what's going to come back at you. I've seen it time and time again. It may not happen overnight, but it does happen. And those that do good, quite often, the reward for them is often, you know, unseen, and they don't know. They're like, well, God, I'm always doing, I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm trying to be a Christian, or I'm trying to be a good person, or I'm trying to be honest, or I'm trying to, follow my faith and do right. And yet I don't get rewarded for the right. Instead, I'm getting crucified by these evil people. And quite often they don't see the reward for their efforts to do right. But it will come, I'm promising you. And it ain't going to just be in the afterlife either. Be abused all through life just so you can go to heaven. That's not how it works, because they will get blessed one way or another. In many ways, unseen ways. Ways that these evildoers have no clue about, because they're so busy digging up a cesspool of muck and rottenness that's all they see. It's totally obscured their vision. And if that's all you have to base your interests in life on, I don't even feel sorry for you. There are some people that just major in being mean, and they love it. Quite often when someone is being brutalized like this, like I said, we have our connections on YouTube, and we have our friendships that we develop at times. And I'm beginning to gain a few friends here and there, and but I really don't know y'all. I mean, I want to get to know y'all, and I want to have a lifetime of friendship with y'all while I'm doing the YouTube videos. And I enjoy your comments, and I enjoy, the diversity. But in reality, I don't know you. And those of you that are doing this type of behavior, this corruptness, you don't know what the ones that you're directing this to. Sometimes you don't even have a clue what their lives are like. You don't know what kind of burdens they're already carrying in their lives. You don't have a clue as to what kind of financial crisis or health crisis or physical or mental crises people are going through. And then you're going to sit there and add injury to insult, and then you're going to pour salt on top of that. I mean, I know we get tired in society of people being rude, or we get we get frustrated, and sometimes we're short and we're not as polite as we should be. But sometimes when people, and I try to look at it like that, well, the person that's doing all this ugliness, maybe there's something in their lives that they're so unhappy about. But after a while, you can only victimize the abusee, the one who's doing it, for so long before you finally say, you know what, enough is enough is enough. Okay, so you have some issues in your life that cause you to act out. But the thing is, maybe there's a sensitive spot in there somewhere where you can reinvent yourself and reconnect and maybe rechannel some of that negative energy. But from what I can see, these people are absolutely relishing this hobby of bullying Jen. And I'm sure she's not the only one in the world that's being bullied online. I can tell you. I'm getting a little cold because of the fan. That's why I say I think I'm coming down with a cold. But I'm just like, you can only make so many excuses for people before you start saying to yourself, it's time for people to come to terms with themselves and look at themselves in the mirror and say, why am I being so ugly? Why am I being so hateful? Why am I lashing out? But like I said, you don't know what people are going through on the other end. The one that's being abused may already have such a heavy load in their lives, and you could push them right over the edge. And everybody knows there's been times when these teenagers, this prevalent thing with teenagers killing themselves and stuff because of the bullying, and then they investigate the situation and come to find out some of the parents are even involved in the bullying aspect of these young teenagers, and they end up committing suicide. But guess what? The parents end up going to jail. They end up going to prison. Their kid ends up going to prison, because we are in a new age where this cyber stuff is not locked into our legal spectrum yet. It's not locked in. we're still learning about, the nuances of the internet and the protocols of the internet and the classifications and where you draw the line, whether it's bullying or making, a comment, or it's your opinion, or you being hateful. Is this life-threatening? Is this a type of harassment? Is this a type of what is the word, stalking? I mean, it's all new still. Even though we're in a modern era, they're still trying to come to terms with the legalities of the internet and all the little nuances involved, okay? And so this situation with Jen definitely qualifies one of those nuances that needs to be addressed, because it's not just happening with Jen. I'm sure there are others all over the internet that are in the same kind of boat. But, my world is kind of small, and I'm focused on my little corner of the world. And in my corner of the world, somebody that I really appreciate that comes online and genuinely sincere and being successful and also artistically talented and has a lot of things to offer, okay, is being attacked because of jealousy and hatefulness, to the point where they've stepped out of the realm of the internet and actually went lifetime to an agency that provides medical health and well-being assistance, and that's being questioned because this person literally stepped out of the realm of YouTube and the internet and the computer world or whatever, and actually put their foot in a pile of poo-poo to try to destroy someone that they're jealous of, that made a comment about the rocks or whatever. It doesn't matter what the comment was, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't matter, because that approach, that scenario, that's just going too far. I'm sorry. It's just going too far. And my stomach is like churning right now. Do you really, those of you that are portraying this type of behavior, really want to be responsible for somebody's demise? Do you really, like Jen said, do you really want me to die? Do you really want me to keel over and die so I can become obsolete and non-existent? Because why? Because what is your motive? Are you jealous that she's successful? Are you, do you relish being, a brute? Do you relish, being a bully? I mean, what is the ultimate goal here? Why would someone go to that extent? Why is there a uproar, an uprising against Jen? What has she done, really? And especially to merit a death wish, basically. Coincidentally, the video I just did before this one, I entitled it, "Is YouTube Safe?" I mean, come on, it's getting to the point where it's a problem. And if YouTube doesn't address it, what's going to happen? We're going to lose our privileges. We're going to lose our privileges for, being able to speak our opinions and our mind, because it's going to be hard to divide and make that fine line distinction between an opinion and someone being brutal and bullyish. I mean, it's going to be very hard, and it's going to be so scrutinized, and it's going to be so detrimental. I mean, that if it continues, I mean, somebody's going to get sued, or somebody's going to die, or something bad's going to happen, and it's going to make a movement that's not going to be in the best interest of everybody that's involved. I'm sorry. I don't think I've ever been this upset until a couple things. You don't mess with people's kids. You don't mess with people's religion. You don't mess with people's politics, and you don't mess with their money, because that's where you're going to get people riled up. I don't think I've ever been this upset, except for a couple times. Once when somebody was messing with my kid, and another time somebody straight up told me I was going to go straight to hell. OMG, I thought I was going to lose it. But let me just say, talking about money, and I already said that evidence would dictate if somebody did happen to commit suicide, evidence would point a finger at those that were responsible. Are you willing to risk that, abuser? Are you willing to risk that, Mr. or Mrs. Bully, whoever you are? Are you willing to literally risk maybe someone who doesn't have as strong of a fortitude as you think you might have? And I say that sarcastically. Do you want to be responsible for someone committing suicide? Because the finger's going to point at you. Legally, it will. And then you're going to end up paying for the consequences of that person committing suicide because of this scenario. Not that Jen's going to commit suicide. I'm just saying, do you want to be responsible? Do you, the lady that reported Jen, do you want to be responsible for her losing her privileges to take her medications because she can't afford? Are you truly that ugly? Are you truly that dark? Are you truly that dark on the inside? Is your heart that black that you would want Jen to risk being alive because she said one minor comment? Who cares? She could have said the sky is blue. It doesn't matter. You know, how far are you going to go with that? It's ridiculous. Financial status does not dictate the level of respect that people merit. You don't treat people with disrespect because they may or may not be receiving assistance from the government. I know, because when I grew up, we didn't have a lot. Hello, most of us didn't, unless you come from fairly well-to-do parents. And I remember someone telling me that my house that I lived in looked like a shack. And I was a young teenager when that was said to me. And you don't think that affected me? You don't think that hurt? You don't think that insulted me? Especially when the person that said it, I had a serious crush on. It was one of my first crushes I ever had. I was so innocent and so puppy-eyed in love with this person. And they said my house looked like a shack. I thought I would literally die, you know. But I didn't come from, my dad was in the Navy. My mom worked as a waitress. And we had a pretty good sized family, and I was the oldest. And I didn't have a lot, but, I never went hungry. And I was never cold. I never did without heat. I never did without food. I did have clothes. I didn't have the most modern, newest style of clothes. I mean, I had a bed to sleep in. My mom was clean, but I didn't have a lot of things that other kids had. But so I'm a little touchy. And then since I've been married, I've got this husband who is kind of old-fashioned, and he uses a credit card. But over the years, we never really did use credit cards, and we never had car payments. My husband's a firm believer in, you want something, you pay for it. And he does use a credit card, don't get me wrong, but he's very, we're very selective about it. And I've also, on the other hand, been accused of having money. Well, since when do you not have any money? Since when did you not ever have anything to spend on, or whatever? Or have, somebody say something to me derogatory because my husband gave me $100 bill. That hurts just as bad to me when people disdain you because they feel like you have money. Okay, so that's a sore subject with me right there. But I've always been a firm believer. I show respect regardless of anyone's status in life. You want to act ignorant, okay, you're going to get treated ignorant. And there's a lot of very well-to-do people that act pretty ignorant, that do not merit respect or any sense of dignity towards them because of the things that they say or do. I have dealt with rich, I don't even know, white collar sort of men, retired down here where I live, wearing the name brand shirts with the dolphin on it or whatever they wear, and, their khaki pants and their, name brand shoes, and going to a country restaurant and some white, nasty, full of himself rich guy make a comment to a little black girl one time because she went to the buffet bar to help herself with some food, and she was old enough that she could reach, and she was putting her food on her plate, and that white man didn't like that she was touching that buffet bar and made a comment to her. And I heard her go up to her daddy crying, and I snatched that little girl up and said just as loud as I could, "You go right on, honey, and you help yourself to that buffet. Don't you worry about what them old coots over there have to say about it." So you can be, filthy rich and be a snob, or you can be poor and be a snob, but don't desecrate, don't demean, don't show disrespect because I don't make as much money as you make, or you live in the system and I don't. My oh, I have a family that this girl works 3 jobs. Okay. Her husband works 2 jobs, and they are getting a little bit of assistance, not a lot, and they're working and working and working all the time. And there are just some people that need help. Not everybody can afford, to spend $3,000 a month on medication or whatever the case may be based on their finances. Not everybody has a lot of money. Not everybody has insurance. People die because they can't afford to buy their medications. But going back, I'm getting off on a tangent now, but here I am, thinking, why are you going to discredit and say, well, they're probably on welfare? So what if they're on welfare? Who cares? I mean, if they're decent people and they're trying, people are trying to make a living and they're on assistance, you cannot begrudge them for that. There are people that work a job, go to school, and are on assistance, trying to better their lives. Okay, give credit where credit is due, people. So I'm sorry, but I never tire of supporting the wrongs that are doled out by abusers. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It really is. And I was proud of Jen for the fact that she got firm. Because what's happening is she's being pushed into a corner now. Because now we're talking about somebody wanting to deprive her of something that is keeping her healthy and alive. I don't get it. It absolutely scares me. It almost scares me to the point where I'm thinking, do I really want to stay on YouTube? Do I really want to put myself out there? And I didn't know this video had come out when I did the YouTube video prior to this one that said, is YouTube safe? In my heart, I had no idea. And I'm beginning to wonder, and like I said, all these other people that are out there doing videos, a lot of them are doing skits, and they're doing, like video games, and they're making comments on other videos. They're gleaning their information from other videos and making funny comments. And, my grandkids watch this stuff all the time. And after a while, it just drives me crazy. But like I said, there's a couple that I do enjoy watching, but 90% of them, they give me a headache because they're just too flamboyant for me. But one of them I saw that the kids were watching was a set of twins, and they had gone into the pool and shut themselves up in a dog cage. And I guess the motive or the goal was to see how long they could stay in the dog cage. God forbid if the dog cage got locked, but I guess they had somebody on standby just in case. I don't know. But that's entertaining, and that's safe. That's good stuff for kids to see. That's good stuff. Next time we go somewhere where there's a pool, I'm going to get me a dog cage, and I'm going to lock one of my kids up in there and see how long it takes them to come on out. Good stuff. But that stuff is popular, and these kids are getting rich off of that. But then I'm thinking, well, is it, should I just do a YouTube video on my life and my thoughts, my opinions, my world, what happens to me in the reborn, with my reborns, what happens to me with my family, what happens to me with my friends, or maybe my thoughts on other people's videos? Is it okay for me to delve into those areas and not be, have my very livelihood and my very life on the line? Well, whoever you be, filing a false report such as that, there could be some actual legal repercussions. There really could, because it may backfire on you. It may backfire on you. I do know that at this point in the game with Jen, I was thinking in my heart, and here it is again, it takes money, but this is getting serious. It's getting serious. You talk about money. You talk about money. Okay. Well, we could do a GoFundMe page for Jen, and the way things were going for Sam, the same for her, that we could gather our strength, gather our army, and start donating to the cause to help Jen get a lawyer, or to be able to have some sort of legal cushion to address and to deal with people like this person who called this governmental agency and made a false report. It can happen. There can be legal repercussions. It's not out of the question. YouTube is a gold mine of opportunity in so many ways. And if you want to start focusing on money, and you want to start focusing on false allegations and misconstruing of funds for medicine and whatever, you know, tax evasion, or making more money than what you, you know, admit to making legally, a GoFundMe would be a very adequate and very noteworthy endeavor in this case. Because guess what? Jen might be one of the first to have this very thing addressed in our society regarding the legalities of the internet and YouTube and the computer world and all of that. Because like I said, again, it's all new. We're still swimming in murky waters, and we don't have all the nuances down to a fine-tooth science. I'm sorry, we don't. And as these issues arise in life, you know, the law, the government, society, our cultural norms, our cultural mores, whatever you want to call it, we're going to get a handle on this stuff. And it's going to be addressed in a legal fashion. Maybe not right now because it's all new still, but it's going to happen, people. And I, for one, am more than willing to set up a GoFundMe for the exclusive purpose. Okay, that would be the criteria. Not to go buy a new color TV or to go buy a new computer or whatever, but to store aside funds for legal action in the event that this gets to the point where, you know, and it has already, in my opinion. So just beware, my little friend that put all this crap out on my Belle's Reborn Nursery. You start talking about someone's medical well-being and trying to sabotage their ability to get their medication, that's going too far. Just my opinion. You can hate me if you want. You can attack me if you want. It's no loss off of it's no sweat off my back, I'm going to tell you right now. I mean, I just started this YouTube thing, and if it got to the point where I was booted off because I chose to leave, or because I was booted off, or whatever, oh well, it is what it is. But I will be honest, if I were in Jen's situation, I would be looking for some kind of way to gain funds, or to at least find a legal outlet. She may not even need any legal funds. She just needs to find a legal outlet that's willing to address this issue. And it seems like a restraining order of some kind or something would be in effect, but I don't know all the nuances, like I said, when it comes to the computer and the internet. But we are going to learn along this ugly road, I can assure you. And I, for one, will be very upset if something happens with Jen because of somebody being stupid. Y'all forgive me, I'm sorry. You know, those of you that aren't involved in this, I love you to pieces, but this ugliness needs to stop. And if it doesn't stop, I'm telling you, it's going to go. You know, they say sometimes you go a whole lot deeper. When you start digging a hole, you go a whole lot deeper than you thought you would. So just be aware of that. Y'all have a good day. I love y'all. Bye. I definitely want to hear from you on this. Thanks. Bye.